of MFRS15, that is step 4, that is allocation of transaction price to each performance obligation. So basically, when you want to allocate, it will be based on the stand-alone selling price of each product or services that you are providing to the customer. Alright, so if you look at the example here, entity A has a contract with customer B to sell computer. Okay, so this is PO1. Provide training and operate. Okay, provide training and operate an IT help desk. This is PO2. Each of these has been assessed to be separate PO because they are not interdependent, and the total transaction price has been determined to be 1.2 million. Okay, alright. Oh, training and operate IT help desk. So what? We have 3 PO here. So entity A determined that the stand-alone selling price for each distinct good or service is, for equipment 750,000, computer equipment 750,000, training 150,000, and help desk 600,000. So the total stand-alone prices 1.5 million. So the same example I have shown in the first session. Alright, so to allocate, so it will be based on the stand-alone of each PO. So the total of the stand-alone is 1.5 million. Alright, and therefore you will allocate to each PO, that is 750,000 divided by 1.5 million, okay, times with the total transaction price. So you get 600,000 TP for computer equipment, 150,000 stand-alone for training divided by the total stand-alone prices times with TP 1.2 million, so you get 120,000 for training, and 600,000 stand-alone price for help desk divided by the total stand-alone 1.5 million times with TP 1.2 million, so you get 480,000. So you will recognize revenue for each of these PO according to this allocated TP. Okay. Now, what happens if the stand-alone price is not available for each PO? Therefore, you have this method of identifying or estimating the stand-alone selling price. The first one, we call it as adjusted market assessment approach. Okay, under this method, okay, evaluate the market in which it sells goods or services and estimate the price. So you have to estimate the price that the customer are willing to pay for those goods or services. Okay, and this may include you may refer to the competitor's price for similar goods. Alright, and then expected cost plus a margin approach is where you identify what is the expected cost to fulfill the PO, providing the product, and then you add an appropriate margin to that same product. That will be the estimated stand-alone price for the product. And then the last approach is residual approach, whereby you estimate the stand-alone price as the total, okay, the total transaction price less the sum of the observable stand-alone selling price of other goods promised in the contract. So that will be the residual approach. So these approaches is only be used if the stand-alone price is not available. Therefore, you have to estimate. Okay, the last step will be to recognize revenue. So basically, in a simple word, the company will recognize the revenue when they perform the performance obligation, that is after they deliver the goods or when they provide services. But there is a certain circumstances where you don't only deliver goods on time, point in time, but there are also cases where you provide services over a period of time, right? So when it takes a period of time in which there are stages, therefore you need to recognize the revenue as you fulfill the PO at every stage. Okay, and you have to make sure when you recognize the revenue, it must fulfill this condition, um, in which the control of the goods has been transferred from the company to the customer. Alright, that the entity has a present right to payment. Okay, this is the indication that control has been transferred to the customer when the company deserves the payment. Okay, legal title has been transferred to the customer. The physical possession, the product is actually with the customer because it has been delivered, and then the customer has a significant risk and reward. Risk of controlling risk and controlling the over the product, and the reward of where the customer now benefit from the product, and then the customer has accept the product or the services. Now, in the case when the company provide services over a period of time, all right, then the revenue should be recognized over a period of time. So this condition should exist where the customer receive and consume the benefit of the entity's performance as the entity performs. For example, cleaning service, probably under the contract agreement that the company should provide cleaning service for 10 times, okay, atau or once every month. So as the company perform the cleaning service, every time the company perform the cleaning service, then the company has the right to receive payment from the customer. So revenue should be recognized as the obligation is performed. So it will take a number of time of revenue recognition. Okay, and second, when the entity performance create or enhance an asset that the customer control as the asset is created or enhanced. For example, when you build an asset on a customer site, so the customer site is the asset and you are enhancing that asset, right? Okay, the third condition, when we say that control is transferred over time, when entity performance does not create an asset with alternative use to the entity, which means that the benefit of using the product or the asset can only be enjoyed by the customer, not by the entity. And the entity has a right to payment for performance completed to date. Okay, for example, building a specialized asset that only the customer can use. So this all three conditions is considered as control has been transferred to the customer. When control has been transferred to the customer, therefore the company can recognize it as revenue. So when you measure the revenue towards completion, it can be based on output method, alright, and input method. Okay, output methods such as surveys of performance or work certified, or time elapsed, time spent on the contract compared to total duration. So this is to measure the progress of the obligation that has been fulfilled to the customer. Or it can be based on the input method, such as cost incurred to date as a proportion of total expected cost. What is the cost that has been incurred by the entity? Okay, normally this is for construction. Then this method is called input method to measure the work in progress. Okay, there are also other issues in revenue, such as bill and hold. And the bill and hold is where when the buyer is not yet ready to take delivery, they have purchased the product, but the customer just leave the product in the shop, probably because the customer is outstation, for example. So in this case, this sales is considered as the customer has taken the title and asset billing, which means that the control and the rights has been transferred to the customer, even though the product has not been delivered to the customer. Under this bill and hold, this is at the request of the customer, not to receive the product, even though the product is already available in the shop. Okay, so this is condition, alright, that shows the title has been passed to the customer even though the product has not yet been delivered. The reason for the bill and hold arrangement must be substantive. Normally it's due to the customer request not to take the product yet even though they have made the payment. So in this case, the company can recognize it as revenue. Okay, the product must be identified separately as belonging to the customer. The product currently must be ready for physical transfer to the customer. Must be ready means it is available in the shop. It's not just in the catalog. It's not that the customer pay and then you need to order or just need to build it. If you need to build or to make it, then make the product to develop the product, then it's not considered as ready and therefore the company cannot recognize it revenue. Okay, bill and hold, the condition is that the product is already available in the shop and it is ready to be delivered. Only that customer request, okay, not to deliver yet. So in this case, revenue can be recognized by the company. The seller cannot have the ability to use the product, so you have already separate and put it aside because it is belong to the customer. Okay, and you cannot sell it to other customer. Okay, under principal agent relationship, okay, the principal PO is to provide goods or perform services for a customer, and the agent PO is to arrange for the principal to provide these goods or services to a customer. So when can these two parties recognize the revenue? So the revenue for the agent is will be the commission that they receive from the sales, and the revenue for the principal is when the goods is sold to the third party customer, not when you transfer the goods to your agent. Okay, principal only recognize revenue when the agent has sold the product. And consignment sale is a principal agent relationship in which the consignor deliver goods to the consignee. Okay, the dealer who is act as an agent. So the consignor receive a commission upon the sale, and the consignor recognize sales, recognize the revenue upon notification of sale from the consignee and receipt of cash. So basically, it's just a similar concept with this one, principal agent relationship, okay, and the consignment sale. Okay, this is relating to the contract cost incurred by the business. The incremental cost of obtaining a contract must be recognized as an asset if the entity expects to recover those costs. Costs incurred to fulfill a contract are recognized as an asset if it fulfills the following condition: that is, costs relate directly to a contract, which is specific to that contract, and the cost generate or enhance resources of the entity that will be used in satisfying performance obligation in the future, and the cost expected to be recovered. Okay, so this is the presentation in the statement of financial position. Alright, if you still remember, on the contract asset and contract liability, okay, whereby it is a contract asset when you have delivered the goods, but you have not yet entitled to receive. You have delivered the goods, but at that time you have no rights to receive the payment yet. So that would be a contract asset. So you will debit your account receivable. Okay. And then okay, under unconditional right, okay, under unconditional right, if the customer has not paid, though they are supposed to pay, and or you will debit contract asset, okay, where you have delivered the product, but at that time you are not entitled to receive payment. And it can be a contract liability where you have received payment from the customer, but you have not performed your obligation. You have not performed, you have not delivered the product, or you have not provided the services. So that amount of money is considered as contract liability. Okay. Okay, so this is on the disclosure part. Okay. Revenue is a disaggregation of revenue amount recognized relating to the performance in previous period. Contract information about contract balances and changes information about performance obligations. So basically, just a disclosure. I just read from the textbook, and then this is just a summary, alright, on how should you disclose in your financial statement in relating to the contract revenue. Okay, thank you so much. Assalamualaikum.